Greetings and salutations, people. Today we're going to be talking about, well, the New York Knicks and the comeback victory they had against the Houston Rockets last night, because that was an exciting game that I'm sure all of you watched, right? All right, we're going to talk about some Nintendo stuff, but I'm not a Nintendo YouTuber, okay? I can't help it that people seem to like when I talk about Nintendo-related things, and I have to give the people what they want. But obviously, last night, the Nintendo financial report went out summarizing the sales figures for many Nintendo Switch-related things. Now, most of the things that we're going to talk about in this video kind of circle around that. There is some interesting updates on the Nintendo Switch 2 that Nintendo themselves gave to the press that I actually found to be kind of unique, because I'm not sure how you're going to do this sort of thing. But first, I want to talk about something that we did talk about last week, and the potential for the Nintendo Direct to happen around side of this financial report, because many people thought that it was going to happen potentially this week, and I guess there still is a chance for that, but I would say that the chance is kind of slimming down quite a bit. Now, as far as there being a Direct in the month of February is concerned, Nate the Hate did say that he did hear chatter about a February Nintendo Direct, but he hasn't looked into the date of anything as far as when it is allegedly going to happen. Now, that is something I did bring up in my initial video talking about it, that, you know, it could be any time in February. You obviously have games that you want to showcase for the original Nintendo Switch. Many people think there's going to be more remakes and remasters at this thing, but I did want to update you guys because I kind of did sort of think that it would happen this week, but since it seems like it might not happen this week, I figure I would take my partial L on that. I don't really think it's an L because I put lots of caveats with it, but I just wanted to update you guys that it does seem like a February Nintendo Direct will be happening. You know, Nintendo themselves confirmed Metroid Prime 4 and Pokemon Legends Z-A or ZA as still coming out in 2024 for the original Nintendo Switch during this financial report. So interesting things all around. You obviously want to show off those games. What better way to do it than at a February Nintendo Direct? Just doesn't seem like it's going to be this week. Now, as far as the financial reports were concerned for Nintendo, I mean, they weren't great. And I don't think anyone really expected the numbers to be great. You know, you've hit 150 million units sold now for the original Nintendo Switch, which is just a staggering number. It's obviously going to continue to sell as well. Software is still selling decently, but when compared to year over year, you know, it wasn't great. Hardware sales were down 30%. Software sales were down 24%, which is understandable. You know, the Switch has been out for really a very long time now in terms of a video game console, and I feel like many people are indeed looking forward to the successor of the system, so they're probably spending a little bit less time on their Switch. Now, Nintendo did report that over 120 million people actually used their Nintendo Switch within the last year. So that's actually kind of crazy, because there's 150 million of them out there, but people are still turning their Switch on and looking at something involving the system. I mean, you're not like watching videos or surfing the internet with it. You're obviously playing some sort of game. So that's a very high retention rate as far as people still utilizing their Nintendo Switch. Now, as far as the software was concerned, there's nothing too crazy. I mean, we got some updated sales figures of stuff. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD sold 1.8 million. Super Mario Odyssey is up to 29 million. But one thing I did want to focus on, because if you're going to make me take an L on that Nintendo Direct, I'm going to take a huge W on this next thing, was Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Who said that it was not going to outsell Breath of the Wild? I did. And I said that with love, because Breath of the Wild had that big wow factor attached to it. Breath of the Wild was something unique, different, special. If you did not like Breath of the Wild, you were not going to be interested in The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And Tears of the Kingdom shot out of the gate, and everyone was like, "You're wrong, RGT." And I'm like, yo, we got to play the long game. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild has been updated to 32.29 million units sold, whereas The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is at 21.04 million. It sold less than 1 million units between February and now. or the end of the latest financial report, which would be what, December 31st. So it's less than 1 million units during that time frame. It's not going to sell 11 million units just out of the blue, and Breath of the Wild is going to stop selling, and then the game is going to supersede it. That doesn't mean that the game is bad. That doesn't mean anything like that. Tears of the Kingdom is arguably a more polished experience than Breath of the Wild is. It's just that whole fact that if you didn't like Breath of the Wild, this game wasn't going to bring you back in. This game wasn't going to sell you on it. Breath of the Wild was a system seller. Breath of the Wild was the reason to buy a Nintendo Switch. It was a brand new Zelda experience, whereas Tears of the Kingdom just built upon that. And if you liked Breath of the Wild, you probably liked Tears of the Kingdom. But if you didn't like Breath of the Wild, you're not going to go out there and buy Tears of the Kingdom just to buy it. So, you know, I just wanted to clarify that, because I caught a lot of heat when I said Tears of the Kingdom was not going to outsell Breath of the Wild, but it is beautiful to see that my analysis was right. So I am a video game analyst. I mean, you got to give me credit. I am a video game analyst now. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now, swinging back to the financial briefing, the press actually did get a chance to talk with President Shuntaro Furukawa of Nintendo, and they actually asked about something Nintendo Switch 2 related, and Furukawa gave a very interesting response to this. Now, this is from a Nakai, I never know how to say it, question that Video Games Chronicle then translated. So I'll have a link to VGC in the comments section down, or in the description box down below, should you want to read the article themselves. But basically, when asked about the Nintendo Switch 2 and having enough stock for the system in terms of launching it, and of course the ever-looming scalpers situation, President Furukawa said the following: "We will take all possible measures based on the experience we have accumulated to date regarding scalpers and the like. We are making preparations." And that's a very interesting thing to say to me, because I'm not quite sure like what preparations you could make. I guess the easy mentality would be, oh, they're going to have a lot of stock of it. The thing about having a lot of stock of something, though, because in theory, like, that is the best idea. You know, have it readily available wherever you go. Amazon, you know, you walk into your Walmart, your Target, boom, there's the Nintendo Switch 2. You could just buy it. What ends up happening with that, though, especially around a system launch, is, you know, FOMO is a real thing, the fear of missing out. And when people see something that's readily available, they might not get that FOMO aspect to it. And I might just be looking like too deep into this, but I feel like, you know, there's a bit of excitement when something is a little bit harder to get than if it's just readily available. Oh man, I wanted to make a comparison to something right there, but I definitely cannot. But yeah, when something is readily available and it's easy and it's just, you know, it's easy to get, it's not quite as fun as having a little bit of a challenge. And you could think about where I was going with that in the comment section down below. So, you know, on one hand, it would be great, but then it's kind of like, well, you know, would people be necessarily as excited if you could just find it anywhere in any store you go to for the launch of the system? The other thing is, it's kind of like, how are you going to control a scalper? You know, a scalper is going to buy up a large quantity of these and then sell them at exorbitant prices. We've seen it time and time again. I've seen some people theorize that Nintendo could have it where, like, you have a Nintendo online membership and you get first dibs or something like that. But that just alienates people that maybe never picked up a Nintendo Switch that want to get a Nintendo Switch 2, because now it kind of suits their lifestyle. So I'm not sure that that's the best idea either when it comes to this. You know, of course, stores can put limits on things, how many somebody can buy. And if you do have an abundant quantity, then the scalpers just end up, you know, eating shit essentially, like we saw with things like the PlayStation 5 Pro when that came out. Like, scalpers bought them up, but then nobody was buying them. So it's a delicate balance. You know, in my eyes, I guess I would just not worry about the FOMO aspect of things and just, you know, have them readily available, have a large quantity of them, let the software speak for itself, let people that want to buy one have the option to buy one. And then if some kind of sit on the shelves, you can adjust your shipping, you know, metrics and stuff like that. You know, it's kind of better if you're Nintendo, you might want to overship than undership. unless you want that FOMO. It's a delicate balance. And you know what? I'm glad that I'm not the head of Nintendo to try and figure these things out. Or there is a third option with all of this, and it's just a giant smokescreen, and they haven't done shit with it, which I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised, because you want to sell out. You know, you don't, companies don't necessarily care about scalpers. Like, I know that they put on a front that they do, but they don't care, because the scalper still bought the product. So the company has made their money. The store selling to the scalper has made their money. They don't care what they end up doing with it. That's not their responsibility. It's outside of their, you know, it's outside of what their jurisdiction. You know, they don't care. Just do whatever. You want to sell it for $1 million? Sell it for $1 million. I already made my money on it. Just some things to think about, but I do think it's interesting that Furukawa did even acknowledge Nintendo Switch 2 scalping and the potential for it. And, you know, if there is indeed some sort of system put into place that would, you know, allow people to get one that want one and not have to pay exorbitant prices. Do you have any ideas of how they could do something like that? I would be genuinely interested to hear them in the comments section down below. And that's what I got for you folks today. Hope you enjoyed this video. Give me all your thoughts and queries about everything I said. And it's a funny word. It's just a funny word. I like to say it. It's a funny word in the comment section down below. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share. I'm not a Nintendo YouTuber. You go to hell. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.